the Nashua Public Schools Curriculum Evaluation Committee meeting. The Nashua School District is holding an emergency meeting pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, Section 8, and Emergency Order Number 12, Section 3. We're going to go ahead and call the committee members. Ms. Paula Johnson.
Present.
Gloria Timmons.
Here.
Jessica Brown. I'm here, and we have a quorum. Also present, we have from the Board of Education, Ms. Sharon Giglio.
Here.
And I think that's the only board members we have present. I'm also going to go ahead and introduce our guests this evening. So we've got a lot of presentations. First, we have Lori Kutu. Oh, and make sure you unmute yourself, ma'am.
Sorry about that. I'm Lori Kutu. I'm the Director of Guidance for Nashua South.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Ms. Dorothy O'Gara.
I'm Dorothy O'Gara. I am the CTE Director for North and South.
Roman Sisdel. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm Roman, and I'm just here to represent North.
Thank you. Dr. Garth McKinney. We're pretty familiar with that guy. He's the Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Schools. Mr. Andy Otaka.
Social Studies teacher at North.
All right. Jackie Hackett.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm the Director of School Counseling at North.
Excellent. Amy Rich.
Social Studies head teacher for North.
Thank you. Charles Gray.
Hi, I teach Social Studies at Nashua High School South.
Thank you. Alice Regenery.
I am Alice, and I'm a Social Studies head teacher at South.
Thank you. Sharon Flesher.
Hi, I'm Sharon Flesher, and I am a librarian at South.
Nice to have you here. And we also just were joined by Ms. Heather Raymond, the President of the Nashua Board of Education. So we will go ahead this evening with our first item of business, which is the High School Program of Studies for 21 and 22. Dr. Garth McKinney, would you like to give us a little intro to that?
Sure, thank you. Every year we present changes to the program of studies. So here today we have the two directors of guidance along with a number of head teachers to present and explain the changes for the 2021-2022 school year. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Kutu and Ms. Hackett. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having our group here tonight. We have a little bit of a large group, and we actually have 5 people here to speak to the changes in the Social Studies Department. So I'm wondering, the packet that we forwarded did begin with the CTE proposed changes, but I'm wondering if maybe we can start with the Social Studies Department, just because there are 5 people that are here to speak to the big change in that department. Is that okay with everyone?
That's absolutely fine with me. What page should we flip to for that?
It would be the second to last page of the packet. And it's the new course called Diversity in America. And I'll turn it over to our head teachers. So we have Alice Regenery from South and Amy Rich from North. And if they could introduce the folks that they brought along and speak to the proposed changes.
Thank you, Jackie. So we have a new course that our teachers from North and South have been working to propose, and it actually was a course that was also encouraged by students that we introduced to the Social Studies Department. So I'd actually kind of let, and Amy, you can speak to this, but I'd like to let the teachers who are actually creating the course and will be teaching the course to speak to this, as well as our student representative who's here. I don't know, Amy, if you wanted to add anything on to that. Sound good? So Andy and Chuck and Roman, if you want to speak to the course.
Sure. I guess I'll go first. I've taught in Nashua for this is year 18 in social studies, a bunch of different things, including history. And one thing that we have bit of a shortage of in the social studies department are electives in history. We have electives in behavioral science. We have electives in law. But we don't really have any history electives. And every year, it seems I get kids who take history classes who want to dig a little deeper than your average kind of survey course, which is, what U.S. history is. It's more or less 20th century U.S. history. That's what it is in 11th grade. I've seen, I guess, what I would call a groundswell of support for that over the past couple of years. And that's really, from my perspective, where the impetus behind kind of taking up the work of trying to write this course and to see if it's acceptable to everybody came from. And I don't know, Chuck, you and I have been working on this. If you have stuff to add to that. Oh, Chuck looks frozen.
He's muted.
There we go. So this was something that Alice brought to my attention. Andy had come up with the idea really to try to focus on a course that would have a focus on diversity in terms of history, because as he stated, U.S. history is really a survey course, and we could certainly spend a lot more time on a whole host of topics. But I think with everything that we saw from this last spring, it never seemed more timely than to pursue developing a course that was really going to have diversity at the center of it. So that's the origin of the course. And really, I think even before Andy had his idea, which again was great, I know there were some conversations that were taking place, where students were pushing for a course that reflected the entire student body that we teach. So I think that was really, really super important. And there's no greater testament, I think, than the thoughts of our students.
We have brought with us said student. Okay. Roman, what would you like to add? What do you think, kiddo?
I think in general, like, history has never been my thing, but hearing about this course really made me excited. Just in general, as Mr. Otaka mentioned earlier, like, our school population in general, Nashua, is pretty diverse. So I think adding a course like this can only benefit us, and it's not anything that could hurt. And I think it's good, just like to be put in the real world, you can empathize and understand others. So I feel like there's no harm in adding a course.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to hear from students as well as teachers and hear how this course is developing. Do we have a comment from Ms. Timmons? Go ahead.
Yes, well said, Roman. Ms. Roman, right? Okay, well said. I'm excited to see this in the curriculum now. There's two questions. One, is it one course with the lens of all these different race, class, gender, and sexual orientation, or is it multiple classes? That's number two. And secondly, it started in the 10th grade, and I was wondering why it didn't start earlier, like in the 9th grade. If someone answer that question.
Sure. I didn't know if it was me to answer, but I guess I'm going to jump in. The first answer is it's one class dealing with race, gender, and sexual orientation. And because it's an elective course, and the head teachers and our guidance folks can speak to this, but I believe the only social studies elective that's open to 9th graders is Advanced Placement World Studies, I think, and that if that's correct. So that's why we categorized it, Ms. Timmons, the way that we did.
So you're saying it's one course for how many minutes? Total minutes you can give me?
It's a semester course.
It's just one semester course, a half a semester?
Full semester.
Full semester.
We're asking for a full semester.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's what I was actually going to ask, whether it was a full year or a semester. So thank you very much. And And then just out of curiosity, the 9th grade year, is that usually when a student would take U.S. history?
Student in 9th grade, students take world history. And, the 9th grade schedule, I think, also doesn't allow them a lot of elective space. They have a lot of classes that they have to take in 9th grade. So that's an additional reason why there aren't a lot of electives open to 9th graders. And, we're kind of teaching them how to be high school students. So, I think it is a little intimidating sometimes for a 9th grader to maybe be in a class that could have 11th and 12th graders in it. We don't usually offer electives, at least in social studies, that are that whole range.
Excellent. That seems like you guys are the experts. You understand. All right, Ms. Raymond, go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. You and Dr. McKinney know I've been pestering you about incorporating this into our curriculum for a while. So I'm really excited to see this class. I would love to to expand on this at some point so that we have included some of these issues, especially when it comes to race and inequality in U.S. history, and kind of make sure that we're covering that stuff in our U.S. history courses as well, maybe even starting younger. But I think this is a fabulous start, and I'm really excited about it. And personally, I would make it required if we had the ability to do so. So well done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Does anyone else from the board have any questions for the social studies department? Yes, Ms. Giglio?
I don't actually have a question, but this is the first time I've come to the curriculum committee meeting because the agenda tonight really excited me. And so I am really happy to hear that this course is hoping to be launched. I would assume next fall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. I'm highly supportive of it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have any other things from the social studies department in other subjects or new courses?
Yeah, we have 2 other changes, and I'll let Alice and Amy speak to those.
Go ahead.
So the other changes we were looking at was to, since we're adding this elective, would be to actually remove an elective that has not run at either high school for 6 or 7 years now. So it's modern European history. We do have an AP European history course that runs that students kind of have been taking over that. So I think in adding and talking to Lori Kutu about adding electives, we had the discussion about if we're adding something to the program, maybe removing something from the program of studies that hasn't been running. So that was one piece, is to remove that course. And then the other is in kind of keeping with this direction of trying to make our courses more inclusive. We wanted to add foundations level to our anthropology elective that we currently offer, just to, again, kind of give more students access to some of these electives. So again, Amy, I don't know if you want to speak to any of that or add anything, or Lori or Jackie.
Yeah. All right, thank you. As far as the modern European history, was it not running primarily because of lack of interest, student numbers?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Excellent. And then what was the anthropology class? It was you said you're adding a level. So are you adding an additional course or adding another grade?
Initially, the course had just been offered at the extensions and honors level, academic levels, and we'd like to expand that to also include foundations level students, so that all level students have access to this course. So.
Awesome. Sounds like fun. Anyone from the committee have any questions? Yes, Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. So if your course on modern European history hasn't run for 6 to 7 years, why didn't we remove it prior to? And who was doing the class on that didn't have a class to teach?
So I can't speak to why it wasn't removed before, but the person who taught it at South is now an administrator. So, and because it's an elective course, if it didn't run, then that teacher would have been teaching more content, like core courses. So they still would have had plenty of courses to teach. But I know at South, it was someone who then went into the administrator position. So
let me ask a question about the social studies class. When we teach social studies, are we teaching 1776 or 1619? Anybody have an answer to that?
Oh, Andy.
Mr. Taka?
It depends, Ms. Johnson, which class you're talking about. The regular U.S. history that well over 90% of our kids take is actually at the high school level, mostly 20th century U.S. history, but you need some background. So it goes a little bit into the 19th century. The only place that you get soup to nuts is in advanced placement, which is from actually before 1619 up to the present.
I'll also add that the social studies curriculum for secondary is a kind of 6 through 12 program. So in 6th grade, students get, I believe it's ancients and some economics. And then in 7th grade, they get kind of an earlier world history than they do in 9th grade. And then in 8th grade, they get the beginnings of U.S. history. And then in 9th grade, they get the second half of world. And then in 11th grade, they get the second half of U.S. So really, like Andy was saying, the only place in high school they get that kind of full continuum of courses is in the 2-semester AP classes, but between 6th grade and 12th grade, they get a continuum.
Thank you, Ms. Rich. Dr. McKinney, do you have something to add?
Just two things, Madam Chair. If we could please consider sticking to the agenda so we can get through the entire program of studies. And then two, I'm happy to speak at a later time around engaging in change and modification to the social studies curriculum K-12. Both head teachers are invested in doing that work. I have 2 consultants kind of in the queue ready to go, but again, we're still kind of waiting for the social studies standards to come from the Department of Education. They're kind of in a holding pattern due to COVID. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I know we'd actually been discussing that, we do have some future changes coming through the entire course curriculum, probably through elementary, middle school, and high school development. So stay tuned for more. So does anyone have anything to add to, or any more questions about this particular anthropology course right now? All right, I am seeing none. I love giving more students access to more interesting levels of history. So this is cool. All right. So is there any place else in the packet where we'd like to bounce around to at this point? Or are we ready to, or should we go back to the beginning of the high school program of studies?
So we can go back to the beginning. Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
All right.
I was just going to say the same thing.
There we go. All right, excellent. And actually, we'll pause for just one moment. When we make the motion, would we approve the entire program of studies, or should we approve individual courses as we move along?
We normally, Tara, you want to answer? But go ahead.
Go ahead, Tara.
I would say that you would approve the entire program of studies. And then if you had any changes, you would say minus the course number only, just so that we have record of it.
Right.
Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome.
All right. So who is going to take the next session? Ms. Hackett?
Lori.
So our next person to speak is Dorothy O'Gara to speak about the NTC changes for next year.
Well, we would like to change business management and entrepreneurship to small business management, because the skills that the students are learning are more in the realm of small business management.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions regarding the business management course? Ms. Raymond?
I just want to clarify, you're just changing the name, right? Not the content?
That's right.
Okay, great.
All right. And let's hear about drone technology. It sounds exciting.
It is. We're moving toward drone technology versus drones and technology. It is more in keeping with what is taught in the course. We're not changing any content.
If I may, can you tell me what they do in drone technology?
Well, they introduce students to drones, FAA regulations. They focus on careers in aviation and safety, flight training, and so forth.
That sounds great. Do you know if there's, I don't want to get in all the nitty-gritty, do you know if there's any relationship with the area FAA or air traffic control?
Yes, there is.
Centers, excellent. I'd love to hear more about that following up. If you could even talk to about it at another time. Because I think there's some really good benefits there. Excellent. Anyone else have any questions about the drone technology course?
Yes, I have.
Go ahead, Ms. Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Removing the 9th grade, is there a reason why, Ms. O'Gara?
Again, in 9th grade, the students don't have the opportunity for the electives that they have in 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay, but it was there before.
It was there before. I think that was the previous director that was starting the program, and she was trying to build as much interest as possible in the program.
I have one other question. Do you find that may be a mistake to remove the 9th graders?
Well, if you would like to leave the 9th graders, that's fine with me, but I don't think you'll find many 9th graders selecting the course because they don't have room for it in their schedules. But if you would like to leave it, that's fine.
I count on your expertise. I just asked a question. Yeah. But if you say so, they don't have.
Well, we found that they just don't have the time.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the next course that we're adding to it, the Cisco program in the second part of the second year is focusing on cybersecurity. So we're adding cybersecurity. So it'll now be computer networking and cybersecurity.
That's good.
Excellent. Any questions about computer networking and cybersecurity? All right.
Okay, the next program is woodworking, and we're not really dealing with plastics at this time, so we're just going to change the name to Woodworking 2, which is a reflection of what is covered in that course right now.
Okay. So you're just most of these are name changes, so it describes the course more efficiently.
Absolutely. And the biotechnology, which is biotechnology now, is biotechnology and biomedical science. And that is open to 11th and 12th graders.
Yes, Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I just have a question about that because biotechnology and biomedical, to me, are almost at this point 2 separate fields because one is more lab-based and the other is more engineering and design-based. And so I'm wondering, does this course incorporate both of those things or is it focused on one or the other?
It's focused on biomedical experiments. For example, the students this year have really tracked the COVID virus and they've done a lot of research. So it's more into research than previously.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, and are these classes that are in a particular course load? Is it like for nursing or something, or is it biomedical fields?
The student, no, some of the students do go on into the nursing programs at post-secondary, but for the most part, the students go on to research in the biomedical field, into medicine and so forth.
All right.
Great. And then the Intro to Business course and the Personal Finance course. There's quite a bit of computer technology in those courses. We teach the students spreadsheets, Microsoft Word. We use the Microsoft Office package in both courses. So we'd like to give them the computer proficiency credit when they take these courses.
Okay. Does anyone from guidance, is that go across the material? It works for the math or I'm sorry, for the computer science requirement? Yep. All right.
Yes.
Mrs. Timmons, did you have a question?
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay. All right. Computer integrated manufacturing. We're changing the course name. And we're maxing out the class at 18. This is recommended because there is so much machinery in the room and safety for the students.
That's a good reason. Anyone have any questions about that one? No? Okay.
Okay, and the same thing with engineering design and principles of engineering. Again, the class size should be 18. Again, because of all the technology in the room and teacher supervision and safety. And the same with introduction to engineering design.
Ms. O'Gara, can I ask, do all of these classes take place in the same room, just at different times?
Yes, they do.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'd like to retire the course Intro to CTE.
Okay. Was that just an overview of what your programs were?
It was. It was for ninth graders to build their interest in CTE programs, but it hasn't been well attended, and it's difficult to schedule a week in each class with a particular teacher. So it leaves it to one teacher to teach all of our programs, and that's just not doing justice to the programs.
All right.
I do have a question. If we come to get rid of the intro to CTE, how do we get kids excited about CTE?
Well, we have the CTE Ambassadors. There are students from all the different courses. We're going to do a virtual visit to each class that is a feeder class to all of our classes. For instance, power mechanics is a feeder to automotive. We found that most students that take power mechanics have an interest in mechanics. So we will have students that are in the automotive program talk to the other students to build their interest.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Ms. Raymond.
Thank you. My brain went exactly the same place as Ms. Timmons's did on that one. There was, and this might be slightly afield, and if so, tell me if I need to get back in the lane. But there was at one point outreach to the middle schools to get the middle school kids excited about CTE before they even arrive at the high school. Is that still happening or planned to happen? I know COVID has interrupted us, but I'm crossing my fingers that 2021 will be back to normal.
We are going to do a virtual introduction at the 8th grade level as well.
Okay, great.
And yeah.
Thank you.
And the culinary students do a great job going down into the middle schools and doing a virtual food preparation video. It's really great. And we also have all of our CTE programs. Everybody's featured once a week doing different things in their programs. It's on our Facebook page.
That's cool.
Great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. O'Gara.
You're very welcome.
I guess, is there anything else that we have for the high school program of studies presentation?
No, that's it.
Excellent. Well, does any of the members of the committee have any comments for the packet? Yes, Ms. Timmons?
Yes, I'd like to move to approve course additions and changes in footprint programs for studies 21-22. I need a second.
And would I will second. All right. So the motion on the motion, Ms. Timmons, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
No. Jessica Brown votes yes. And the new course changes are approved. We are recommended to be approved at the next board meeting. All right. Thank you very much to all the teachers and students who spoke today. It was very valuable to have you all here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
So, and next we have a grant subaward notification. Notify us, please.
Actually, Madam Chair, would you mind taking the next number 3 on our agenda? We have a guest here who can speak to that, and we can come back to number 2. Would that be acceptable?
Absolutely, we can do that. All right, library book circulation update. This is going to be good. All right, I'm guessing Ms. Flesher, is that why you're here?
That's why I'm here.
All right.
It's really nice to see you. So we have made an attempt to do some curbside pickup. Frankly, it hasn't gone all that well. So we piloted it in several schools. There's different schools have been trying different things. So Charlotte Ave, and I believe this is in your packet. I think that you've seen this piece. Charlotte Ave taught all their 4th and 5th graders how to do the curbside. How to request a book in Destiny. 28 students requested 42 books originally, and 10 of those kids never picked up their books. Fairgrounds taught their 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and they had a very similar situation where many books were not picked up and had to be placed back on the shelf. Bicentennial hasn't gotten there yet. I will tell you at Nashua South, let me stop for a second and tell you that librarians just want to shove reading materials down people's throat. We just live to get people to read. And we're trying to do this in any way we can, which is why we really wanted to try curbside pickup. So at my school at South, I have information about curbside all over the place. I have talked in classrooms about it. I have it on our website. We have it in Google Classrooms for every grade. We have it all over the place, and we have so few students using that service. I go to school every Tuesday and every Thursday. I'm in there all day. Students know that they can reach me through email. They can put a book on hold in the card catalog, and I will pull it and email them and tell them that it's ready for them. I'm right there ready to go. And we get a couple of kids every week. We get more teachers that are interested. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we've tried hard. And it really isn't going very well. I think probably the reason that is that we are open at the same time that students are in school. So it's kind of hard for them to get there while they're in class. You don't want them leaving class to come get a library book, right? And there's a little bit of time at the end of the day. But even in a high school where a lot of the kids can drive, they're just not getting there. What we are doing very well is getting ebooks into students' hands. So Pebble Go, you guys remember the whole Pebble Go conversation from like months ago? One of my librarians I was talking to today, and she has over, I think within the last, I think I wrote it down, like the last month or so, has over 6,000 hits on her Pebble Go because the kids absolutely love it. we're using, I know, wow. I just saw Sharon Giglio's face and she was like, whoa, yay, this is exciting. We're using Junior Library Guild. We're using Teen Book Cloud at the high school level. All levels are using Sora. Sora is a platform that connects with Overdrive. If you guys have a public library card and you haven't used Overdrive, if you haven't used Libby, you need to get to it because they have a lot of really good books on there. Our schools have connected to the free platform that has some content in it. And then we can also connect to what the public library does. So if a student has a public library card, they can use it, they can connect their Sora account with that, and then they can borrow right through Sora the public library cards and the public library materials, as well as what's available through the schools. We're also looking at purchasing materials through Sora. It's been a little bit of a headache getting that going, not because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, but the Sora conversation, or our conversation with Overdrive people has not been an easy one. We've just had a lot of bumps in the road. So that's really what I have to say. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Ms. Timmons, go ahead.
Yes, I understand what you're talking about. This weekend, the Arlington Street Community Center had the Christmas tree giveaway, and we had dozens and dozens of books out there, and they did not get picked up. Those books was free. So I don't know if it's the touch of a book. They now use the ebooks that they just don't want to read a hardback book versus going online reading. But I think the kids are still reading, but not picking up a book like we do and read. It's sad because I like the feel of a book. I have several of them around here. When I just put the book down, just was reading. But the point I'm trying to make, I think, is not that they're not reading. I just think that something about picking up a hardback book and feeling the covers of the book feel really good in us old people hands, but not in the younger hands. But doesn't mean that they're not reading.
Yes, Miss Giglio.
I just wanted to say, as a former school librarian, that I think the children it's very difficult for them to miss out on the excitement of going to the library every week or a couple of times a week and getting to hold the books in their hands and look at them and have a librarian talk to them about the books and know that they can go back. If they finish the book in 2 days, they can go back and get more books. So I think this is one of the harder things to address with COVID and our current learning systems. But hopefully that will be better when we all get back in the libraries.
I will say in response to that, while it is hard to get books into students' hands, what our librarians are doing really well is sharing the excitement of literature. There are book clubs going on. I know in my school we have several book clubs going on. They're so much fun. And the kids are so excited about them. We have all kinds of book conversations. I know they've talked about the Ladybug books, and I am not an elementary librarian, but I am a bicycle rider. And there is a book about a bicycle, about bicycle and women's history in the United States, women's suffrage. And they let me record the book. So I actually recorded part of the book while I was riding my bicycle. I did it in the court so nobody hit me, but it's so much fun to share the materials with the kids. And I think that the librarians are doing a great job across all levels of sharing this excitement and enthusiasm, even though we don't have them. We don't have them so the students so that we can open the book and smell that new book smell. I mean, we're not there, but we are sharing the excitement of literature, the excitement of reading, and I think that that is a good thing.
That sounds wonderful. It sounds really wonderful, and I'm not surprised to hear that. Thank you.
Ms. Raymond, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just I'm curious, or I guess I'm concerned about access to books for our younger kids. I think you guys are doing a fabulous job, and I'm excited about the ebooks and the Pebble Go. But I'm thinking of a study I read a couple years ago that said that children living below the poverty line have on average one book for every 30 kids, whereas children in the upper economic areas have 30 books each, and I thought it was a memorable stat. And so I'm wondering how we can address that. I know that, the elementary school teachers and librarians are doing a great job, but maybe I'm so old school. I just really like the feel and experience of reading a book in your hand that you can do with a parent or a guardian or a pet, as opposed to reading it on your Chromebook.
I will say that one of the things that we're doing is we're really working hand in hand with the Nashua Public Library. And the advantage that the Nashua Public Library has over us is that their hours and their staffing works better for sharing materials. So they have, they had the curbside pickup that they're doing right now. And they also have their e-materials, which doesn't really address your question, but it is there. So Tumble Books, I don't know if you've ever played with Tumble Books. That's for the littles. And Tumble Books is so much fun. So it is online, but I will tell you that I have shared Tumble Books with high school students so that they can, if they have siblings or if they have kids that they're babysitting, they can sit there together with that child and hold them in their arms, and they can read the book to them, they can listen to it together, they can ask questions about it. I keep hoping that I can have a book club with our future educators, because I think that would be such a blast to get them in the habit of sharing materials. I do think the public library is really going above and beyond. They're working really hard to get books into kids' hands. And as I said, they have the staffing and they have the hours that makes it easier for the kids to get over there and get the materials. I think that's working. I can't give you a data point, but what I can tell you is that we are hearing from librarians that it is being used quite a bit.
Dr. McKinney, did you have something to interject about that?
Thank you. I was just going to add on. This is just one of many resources we have to get books in kids' hands. We also have special educators, reading specialists who put books in kids' hands, classroom teachers when they do student material pickups. We also had one of our coaches got a Donors Choose grant, and she has pop-up libraries at all the schools where kids can come and get books. So while we don't track all those numbers, I totally agree. We do everything we can to get books in kids' hands. I think the only thing that stops us from doing that if you don't reach out to us. And we do have handfuls of kids at schools where we're not engaged with them all the time. But we do have ways to get books in kids' hands when we need them. For example, Ledge just invested a lot of money in guided reading. So we send packets of books home on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher, and thank you, Dr. McKinney. I feel better about that. So thanks.
That's good to know. Thank you.
So actually, I had two questions about something you mentioned through the public library. The Overdrive, which I use to download books, and that connects with this. You said it connects with the Sora accounts that people. So the kids have to. So they log in with through Sora, with their NSD account, and then that connects them to the public school Overdrive, or do they use their public school account through the library website?
So what you do is you go into Sora, and then you can choose to put your public library card into it. So I have a Sora account, and that's through my nsd42.net account. But then I added my public library card. So I have two libraries in my Sora. I have both the school district and I have NPL. So I can go and borrow NPL books through the Sora account, which is nice because the Sora reading app is a beautiful app for students to use.
Okay, excellent. I'm wondering if we could do maybe a district email with the details on how kids could do that, or maybe even something the principal could send out in announcements that said specifically, you know, a one pager that said, if you want to have access to books. I'm wondering if people don't even know that exists. I think it's really great. Or it could be something even for elementary school, their librarian could probably tell them on library day, but middle school and high school, I mean, there might be kids out there that might take advantage of it a little more if they just knew it was there, but I think it is a very good thing. And I appreciate everything you've got going on with that. My follow-up kind of question is, moving forward, obviously I very much appreciate the fact that you tried to get the hard copy books into teachers' hands, or into kids' hands, I'm sorry. Is this something that is the manpower isn't really worth the effort to continue? So are we kind of going to end the pilot?
Okay, so I guess the way I would like to answer that is, I don't think it's a good thing to continue to push. However, I know that like at Charlotte Ave, she says that there are 5 to 10 kids that contact her weekly, and she's certainly not going to discourage them. I have kids that contact me and I will not discourage them. So I think that we're leaving the doors open, but not pushing it, because it's really frustrating to pull like 79 books off of the shelf and have to put, 65 of them back. We don't have the time to do that. I mean, I think that we're all tap dancing across the district. I mean, from Dr. McKinney and Dr. Mosley down to the pairs, I think we're all tap dancing really fast. So we don't want to do things that are just treading water. I do think that we can continue to encourage the kids that are using it. I will continue to leave the doors open, and we will continue to really work hard at getting e-resources and pushing the public library. And yes, I will see what I will encourage my people to really push the Sora.
Excellent. I think that's great. So maybe this is something that at individual schools, they can choose how heartily they push the in-person pickup. Yes, Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. When they request the books, do we do any type of follow-up or confirmation that the books are going to be ready on a certain day, so we remind them to go and pick them up?
I think it has been different at the different schools. So I know that I think that at Charlotte Ave, she has a specific time that they can come and pick it up, and she has told them that. She does not have time to send every individual student an email for a reminder. At my school, when a student requests a book, I pull it from the shelf and then I send them a personal email with the information back. If it sits on the shelf for a while, I usually send a reminder, and if it still isn't picked up, then I will put it back on the shelf.
But don't we have anything that you can automatically do once you pick the book? We don't have anything like that? Amazing. We spend money on everything. We don't have any reminders. So if kids request a book, we can't automatically send a confirmation and say your book will be ready at a certain date and kind of like pick it up or not pick it up. When we don't hear back from them, then we know chances are they're not going to pick it up.
I will tell you that we really investigated that at the beginning. We figured that because X2 and our library catalog spoke with each other, that would be something that we could make happen, but it has not been the case. So the emails that we send tend to be individual emails. I also think that librarians are reminding students in their Google Classrooms to pick up books. But we don't have a system like the public library where it just does it and takes the work out of it.
Okay, I guess my question is, can we find out from the city if we can connect into their system somehow to see if we can do these reminders for these students? Because I guess the question becomes, do they forget to pick them up, that they put it in there and then something they don't write it down and they forget to pick it up? Because we're talking about how we want them to read and get these books out to them. So there has to be a reason why they're not picking up, and could be forgetful and they didn't tell mom or dad or whoever, their guardian, that they need to pick up the book or whatever, and try to remind them. I don't know, maybe it could be a thing to ask the city if there's somehow we can hook into their system or whatever to see about getting these reminders out for these students so then they have the books. Thank you.
I can speak to that a tiny bit. We have talked to NPL to find out how it works over there. And as I said, our system just will not mimic it.
Can't hear you.
Hold on just one moment, Ms. Flesher. You are muted for a moment. Hold on one moment. There you go. Try again. Oh.
Hello?
There.
Okay, so I think the kids are excited and enthusiastic, but I don't think that when they're asking for books, they're thinking the logistics of getting the book when we are only really open while they are in school. So, I mean, if you think about what hours parents are working, they tend to be working the hours that students are in school, or they don't have the flexibility to come and get their books when the schools are open and available for them to get their books.
So let me ask a question. So are these students of all ages that are requesting the books by email, and maybe the parents don't know and they can't come and pick them up?
Yes.
I mean, because, okay, so there's part of our problem. So I guess the question becomes, if the students are requesting it, then there has to be some type of notification that the parents know about it too. There could be some parents that might be able to run and pick it up and make arrangements to pick it up. But if parents might not know about it, then they can't come and pick up a book. So I think that's could be part of the problem here. If the students are requesting it and parents don't know. So
it could be,
maybe more
it could,
than half.
I think you could be right. It could be a transportation issue as well, which is tough. Thank you. I think thank you, Ms. Johnson. I think you're right that it does seem like we should have some kind of programming that makes sure we notify parents as well, at the elementary level specifically, maybe middle school too. I think that might be something to consider in the future, is when we're doing whatever next level upgrade we do for our software. It might be something that we need to look at, more features where we could service kids with hard copies remotely. But I appreciate this update, and I always appreciate your enthusiasm, Ms. Flesher.
Thanks. I am enthusiastic, and thank you for letting me come and crash your meeting.
You're always welcome. Is there anything else, any questions anyone else has for the librarian?
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
All right. Let's see. Our final item of business is the notification of the grant subaward. So.
Yes, included in your packet is a memo speaking to this grant. As you can possibly remember, we had a System of Care grant for $50,000 that ended the end of September. We applied for an extension to the federal government. Unfortunately, we're not awarded an extension, but fortunately, the state of New Hampshire saw our application and has awarded us a grant for $38,770, which will support stipends, software, supplies, training, PD, and consultation. Included in the memo is an attachment that outlines some of the pre-approved expenses. So this allows us to continue the work that already started. We have a great district community leadership team. We have K-12 representation, administrators, guidance counselors, social workers, representatives from Greater National Mental Health, Harbor Homes, and that's our leadership team that makes our goals. We're working on a mission statement, and we meet monthly and keep an agenda and have minutes. So I'm asking the board to please approve receipt of these funds so we can continue the work. And you can see from the proposed budget some of the funds that'll go towards licenses, supplies, some PD, and stipends.
Thank you. So I had a question. So since the original grant was for $50,000 and now we've got $3870, are we going to be able to fund the basic needs of this program, or are we going to come up short? Obviously, have you removed things from the program under the $50,000 grant?
I'm not sure of your question, but my intent is to spend the $38,770. We met the other day and we already started collecting some orders. If that is the intent, we have more time for this one. It runs until 2021. The other grant, we had probably 5 or 6 month window, and COVID happened right in the middle of it. So a lot of things got delayed. But now we're in a place where we have our leadership team. We meet monthly. We have a consultant from the Department of Education. We have a direction. We have team members. So I do see this as being achievable.
Okay. With the 38. All right. Very good. Any question, Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. So if you had on the back is breaking everything down. So the stipends are $11,600. So when this grant ends, are we going to need to come up with this in the budget? This amount of money to continue all of this?
Not necessarily. We could be in receipt of another grant or use other grant funds like Title II for professional development. Again, this is a proposed budget that was given to us based on the no-cost extension. So these are kind of pre-approved. It doesn't mean we have to do everything here, but based on the extension that I filed, these are the ones that most likely we're going to be doing. One other note, the curriculum budget does include time for additional stipends for curriculum work and professional development.
All right. Ms. Timmons, do you have any questions?
No, I like to make a motion to approve the Project Aware grant in the amount of $38,770.
I'll second the motion. Would you like to discuss the motion or ask any more questions, Ms. Johnson? No? All right. All right. On the motion, Ms. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Jessica Brown votes yes. The motion is approved to recommend to the Board of Education the receipt of the Project Aware Resiliency Grant.
$38,770.
In the amount of $38,770. All right. Well, that is the end of our agenda. Dr. McKinney, do you have anything else to add for administration at this point?
No, thank you. Stay safe. Happy holidays, everyone.
You too. Everybody,
Thank you.
Happy holiday.
Thank you very much. Would do any of the board members care to make a comment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All right. Ms. Johnson, thank you for the motion. Ms. Timmons, thank you for the second. And so on the motion, Ms. Timmons?
Yes.
And Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Jessica Brown votes yes. Motion is adjourned. Our meeting is adjourned at 6:58
Gee,
p.m.
that's a quick meeting tonight, you know, it must be because the holiday spirit is upon us, you know?